Imagine a world without paper, without calendars, without bowling. Hard, isn't it? Well, the ancient Egyptians didn't have to. They invented them. When we think of ancient Egypt, we're often drawn to the grandeur of their pyramids, the enigma of their hieroglyphs, and the mystique of their pharaohs. But behind these monumental achievements stood a civilization brimming with innovation, creativity, and a knack for practical solutions. They were inventors, and their creations have shaped the world we know today. The early beginnings of the ancient Egyptian civilization were defined by their innovative spirit. The fertile banks of the Nile River gave birth to a society that was not just agriculturally wealthy but also rich in intellectual and creative pursuits. They were thinkers, explorers, and inventors, continually pushing the boundaries of what was known and possible. Among their numerous inventions, one stands out for its profound impact on communication: the invention of papyrus paper. Before the digital age, before the typewriter, even before parchment, there was papyrus. Made from the pith of the papyrus plant, this early form of paper was a game changer. It provided a flexible and portable surface for writing, revolutionizing the way information was recorded and shared. The Egyptians were the first to use papyrus as a writing surface, and it quickly became an essential part of their society. It was used for everything from documenting tax records and legal contracts to penning love poems and stories. This invention not only facilitated the administrative functions of their civilization, but also fostered a culture of literacy and learning. It was the papyrus paper that allowed their stories, laws, and knowledge to survive the test of time, giving us a window into their world. And that's just the start of the ancient Egyptians' inventive streak. The ancient Egyptians weren't just scholars, they were also pioneers in the world of beauty and grooming. Their ingenuity birthed inventions that are still integral to our beauty and grooming routines today. Let's begin with cosmetics. The Egyptians were the first to develop makeup using natural pigments to create bold, rich colors. They crafted eyeliners from mineral ores, lip and cheek stains from red ochre, and they even had a primitive form of foundation made from clay and oils. These cosmetics were not just for aesthetic purposes, they also believed that makeup had protective properties against the harsh desert sun and evil spirits. Now let's talk about hair removal. The Egyptians were ahead of their time, developing a waxing method that's strikingly similar to what we use today. They used a mixture of oil and honey to create a sticky substance which they'd apply to the skin and then rip off, taking unwanted hair with it. This practice was crucial for hygiene in the hot Egyptian climate and was considered a sign of cleanliness and purity. And of course, we can't forget about wigs. Wigs were a significant part of ancient Egyptian fashion, especially among the royal family and the wealthy. They were made using human hair, and sometimes even included gold threads for added opulence. Wigs weren't just a fashion statement, though. They also served practical purposes like protecting the scalp from the scorching sun and compensating for hair loss, which was common due to frequent shaving and waxing. These beauty and grooming inventions played a significant role in ancient Egyptian society, and their influence is still evident today. Our modern cosmetics industry, waxing practices, and even the use of wigs owe a lot to the pioneering efforts of the ancient Egyptians. So next time you apply your eyeliner, remember you're following in the footsteps of the ancient Egyptians? Ever wondered who you have to thank for being able to keep track of time and days? Look no further than the ancient Egyptians. Our story of timekeeping starts with the creation of the calendar. The ancient Egyptians were the first to establish a calendar with 12 months of 30 days each, plus an extra 5 days thrown in for good measure. This is strikingly similar to our modern calendar, isn't it? Except, of course, for the extra quarter day we add every 4 years, the leap year. The ancient Egyptian calendar was primarily used for agricultural purposes, to keep track of the seasons and the flooding of the Nile. It was also used to record significant events and to plan for religious festivals. The calendar was so essential that the pharaoh's reign was often marked by the number of years, months, and days he had ruled. But the ancient Egyptians didn't stop at inventing the calendar. They also developed sundials and water clocks, the earliest known timekeeping devices. Sundials used the position of the sun to tell the time, while water clocks measured time based on the flow of water. These devices allowed them to divide the day into parts, which were then used to plan daily activities and rituals. Imagine a world without these inventions. If the sun is your only guide, how would you know when it's time for lunch, or when to start your evening rituals. The ancient Egyptians' timekeeping inventions brought order to society, helping people to coordinate their activities and live harmoniously. These ancient devices laid the groundwork for our modern timekeeping methods. The mechanical clocks of the Middle Ages, the pendulum clocks of the 17th century, and even the digital watches we wear today all owe their existence to the pioneering work of the ancient Egyptians. Without the ancient Egyptians, we might still be guessing what day it is. When they weren't inventing things, the ancient Egyptians knew how to have a good time. Indeed, the Egyptians weren't just serious inventors and innovators. They also knew the importance of leisure and recreational activities. One of the most surprising things you'll find out about ancient Egypt is that they pretty much invented bowling. Yes, you heard that right. Bowling as we know it today has roots that trace back thousands of years to the sandy landscapes of ancient Egypt. The primitive version of bowling that the ancient Egyptians played was quite different from the 10-pin game we know today. They used stones for bowling balls and made pins out of various materials. This simple yet engaging game provided a much-needed break from daily chores and tasks. It was a game that could be enjoyed by all, regardless of age or social status, reflecting the egalitarian nature of their society. The invention of bowling is significant, as it's one of the earliest known forms of leisure activities. This shows us that the Egyptians valued balance in life. They understood that all work and no play could dull their creative and innovative spirits, so they made sure to incorporate various forms of leisure activities into their daily lives. The societal structure of ancient Egypt also played a role in shaping the game. The pharaohs and nobles, who were at the top of the societal hierarchy, had more leisure time, and hence, they played an instrumental role in popularizing the game. On the other hand, the commoners also engaged in this activity during their free time, making it a game that brought together all layers of the society. Bowling in ancient Egypt wasn't just a game, it was a reflection of their culture and lifestyle. It showcased their creativity beyond just monumental architecture and innovative inventions. It showed us a side of the ancient Egyptians that resonates with us even today. Their love for leisure, fun, and games. So the next time you go bowling, spare a thought for the ancient Egyptians. Their spirit of innovation and balance in life continues to inspire us, reminding us that leisure and recreation are as essential as work and progress. The ancient Egyptians might be long gone, but their inventions live on. Let's take a moment to appreciate the astonishing legacy of the ancient Egyptian civilization. From the dawn of their innovation, they introduced us to a world of firsts that we now take for granted. They were pioneers crafting a society that was ahead of its time and whose inventions still echo in our modern world. Consider the beauty and grooming rituals that have become a part of our daily routines. The ancient Egyptians were the first to use wax for hair removal and created cosmetics from natural pigments. They even had barbers who groomed hair and beards using sharpened flints and shells. This fascination with personal appearance set the foundation for our modern beauty industry. Then there's the invention of timekeeping and the calendar. The Egyptians were the first to create a calendar with 12 months of 30 days each, plus 5 additional days. Their ingenious sundials and water clocks were the precursors to our wristwatches and digital clocks. These timekeeping devices have shaped the way we perceive and measure time today. And let's not forget about the leisure activities they introduced. The ancient Egyptians were the first to play a version of bowling, a game that millions enjoy worldwide today. They also invented the art of storytelling, which has evolved into our literature, movies, and television shows. The legacy of ancient Egyptian inventions is more than just a list of firsts. It's a testament to their ingenuity and creativity, which have had a profound influence on the development of human civilization. Their inventions have stood the test of time, becoming integral parts of our everyday lives. So the next time you write on paper, check the date, or put on makeup, remember the ancient Egyptians. They might just have invented it,